everybody, and welcome to the United Stand. Football never ever fails to amaze us, does it, with its breaking news? And there is some breaking news, and it is impacted for Manchester United as well. Maurizio Pochettino sacked by Tottenham Hotspur, 2 points behind Manchester United, Champions League finalists only a few short months ago, and Maurizio Pochettino has been sacked by Spurs. Wow, absolutely wow. Even I doesn't mean I know anything, but I would never have predicted that. I never would have predicted that. Here's a manager who a year ago, when we sacked Mourinho, was pretty much Manchester United's favourite amongst fans to come to United. This is a man that if we had gone for him in the summer, we would have had to pay Spurs 40 million because he was in contract. And here he is, sacked and available for free. Can football change so much that you wouldn't consider Pochettino anymore? Or is it just a sign of the times that Manchester United from top to bottom are run so badly and we just do not get the look? Our timing is awful when it comes to good managers becoming available. Or is Pochettino not a good manager? Would you not take him? It's an interesting conversation. I want to drill into it, but I want to just say, ho, 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 I'm wearing my Christmas jumper and you can be wearing yours as well. Some would say it's a little bit early, but if you want your United Stand Christmas jumper, the link is in the video description. Get yours now, because with delivery times, they'll get here just for the start of December in time for your Christmas party. So you need to get on your order now. 5 Cantonars. It's that great Christmas classic from the United crowd. 5 Cantonars. We can get yours. Get your jumper. Get your Christmas jumper. Unique. Link in the video description. But look, let's get into this. It's not Christmas for Poch. He'll be lonely this Christmas. He won't have Harry Kane banging in the goals for him. Please get him in, says Leo Manchester United. I really want to get into, look, you can smash Poch in, you can smash Poch out. What I would say is that the reason Spurs are saying they've sacked Pochettino, and I suppose you've got to look at the bigger picture here, the reason they're saying they've sacked him is domestic results at the end of last season and the start of this season. Who does that sound like? But Spurs have taken that action, and I think it's the right action. I think it's the right action by Spurs. As an outsider, I think you look at things more pragmatically and you say that that's not going to get turned around. That squad's way better than it is. Some of the results Spurs have had, it looks like a team that's tired. Pochettino looked like a manager that really didn't want to be there anymore, and I think Spurs have made the right decision. It doesn't make Pochettino a bad manager, and I don't think it makes those Spurs players bad players. I just think it had all become a little bit mundane. Having said that, he got them to a Champions League final. He is a good coach. So, where do I stand on this? Where do you stand on this? He's going to go to Barcelona, Mark. He's done with the Premier League, says Dano Jr. 100% Dano. I absolutely agree with you on that one. He is not going to be Manchester United's manager, and he will not stay in the Premier League. He's going to go back to Spain. And I think Barcelona are looking at moving their manager on. But let's not forget this. When we're discussing whether we would take Pochettino right now, it definitely should be a conversation, because where he's going to go next, he ain't going to go back and manage bloody Real Stoke or whatever the equivalent is in Spain. He's going to be going back and managing a decent club in Spain. So he is a decent manager. Is he right for Manchester United now? I don't know. I don't know is the answer. I think the timing with Manchester United, Paul Robinson, one of our moderators, was saying it in the group chat before, Manchester United's timing is just terrible. Like, there is no way we're moving for Pochettino any time before the end of the season anyway. We are going to stick with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I actually believe that is the right thing to do. I'm not Ole out. I have not been Ole out. I've been close to it. It's not going to happen now. The club but from a Manchester United point of view, my ears would prick up, because, as I said, this is a manager that many people wanted to come to Manchester United. And if we'd moved for him in the summer and we'd said, Ollie, thanks, you've done really well, but no thanks, we're going for Poch in the summer, we would have had, and Pochettino wanted the United job by all accounts, we would have had to get him out of Spurs, get him out of a contract, and we would have had to pay 40 million for that manager. 40 million to get him out of Spurs. And here he is now, free. If United's ears don't prick up a little bit and go, well, that's a manager we wanted. We were seriously looking at him before Ollie did his bit, and he's free. He's available now. And what is not in doubt, I don't care what anybody says, Pochettino is a better manager than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. 100%. He's got the CV, and he's a better manager. Doesn't mean Ollie won't be better for Manchester United. Doesn't mean Ollie's not going to be a good manager for Manchester United. But Pochettino is better. That's not being disloyal to Ollie. That's not being saying you want Pochettino to come in and sack Ollie. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying he is a better manager. There are question marks over Pochettino. You know, look at it like the Sanchez situation. We all wanted Sanchez, but we didn't look at the history. If you want Pochettino, are you looking at the history? This is a man who is known for making late substitutions. This is a man who is known for being stubborn. This is a man who's not won trophies. So they're three big things when you're looking at Manchester United. However, this is also a man who's won big games. This is also a man who has consistently done very well with Spurs. And this is also a man who's consistently not really had a lot of money to spend. I know he did it I know the summer just gone, he's had some money. The summer before, he had no money and wasn't even playing in his ground and managed to get them top four and managed to get them to a Champions League final. So he is a good coach. There's no doubting about that. Is he right for Manchester United? Well, I ultimately think it's not going to be something that we need to concern about ourselves about, because I suppose what I would say is you've got to look at this from a competent club position. Would a competent club think we need to go and get Pochettino now? That's open for you to decide. Will Manchester United think it? No, they'll be like this. La 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 la. We're sticking with Ollie. We're sticking with Ollie. We're sticking with Ollie. We're praying it's going to work. La 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 la. That's what we will do. And I hope it does work, of course. But we haven't got competent owners. They don't know what to do. They won't consider this. They won't be considering it. But what I would say is, well done to Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, well done to Tottenham Hotspur. I give them a lot of stick, Daniel Levy, because he's a businessman. And I was like, why would he sack a manager that he nearly... Pochettino was linked to Real Madrid as well. He was going to get 40 million for him. And then he's just sacked him and had to pay him off. That's a loss for the club. 40 million for your manager, or sack him and have to pay him off. They've just lost a load of money getting rid of Pochettino. But fair play to Spurs. I think that they do need to make a change. Now is the time to make a change, because they could still... outside chance get into a top four race and salvage a season, and now's the time to do it, because they were getting gradually worse. And I think fair play to Spurs, they could see that the writing was on the wall, things weren't going to go better. They've got rid of Pochettino, and now they're favourites to go and get Nagelsmann from RB Leipzig. So that is dynamism. That is going and making a change when it needs to be made. Played for Espanyol, said he'll never coach Barcelona, says Matthias. And if this happened a couple of weeks ago, I'd be all for it. But I'd like to wait and see. Now Tony's back. United excite me for how long? Only Ed knows. Peace, says Calbao. And Jasmine Grant says, Poch is a proven almost did it manager. I highly doubt he'd make any major difference, especially the team we have right now. We need a winner. Can I just throw something in here? Because I was, obviously we played Liverpool a few weeks ago, and I went up to do a video with the Red Men TV fan channel. And we were sat there, and I don't know whether we said it on video or not, but we definitely had the conversation. And I said to them, as an outsider who can't stand Manchester United because we're biggest rivals, what would fit? Because they both said Solskjaer's not the man. They said, I hope you keep him, but he's not the man. And I hope you do keep him, because you're never going to be successful with him. This is people who want us to fail. This is Liverpool fans who desperately don't want to wish us any good fortune. They were saying, I hope you keep Solskjaer because you're going to fail with him. So that's Liverpool fans. They don't, that's totally unbiased. They want us to keep him. They also said Pochettino would be the one that would worry me, because what Manchester United need is a plan. They need a proven manager to come in with a plan and build it, and Pochettino is probably one of the only ones. So that's just what keeps dropping into my head tonight, is what Paul and Chris said to me when I was up there. Both Liverpool fans, both can't stand Manchester United because of the rivalry. Both said, I hope you keep Solskjaer, he's going to fail. I wouldn't like you to get Pochettino, because that's a project that I'm not saying he would do it, but he is a manager who could come in and be quite successful. So there you go. And also with Pochettino, he does promote the youth, and he has promoted the youth. Look at Harry Winks. He's bought young players like Sessegnon. Dele Alli's quite young. Harry Kane's quite young. He has used the youth. So, he is a manager that does that as well. But it isn't going to happen. It isn't going to happen, because I think he will go back to Spain. And I don't think Manchester United will even be considering doing this. Wanting Poch must be put in perspective with how Spurs ended last season and how they start this season. Aren't there similarities with Ollie, says Moho. There are, but I also detect with Spurs that there is a bunch of tired players. I think that when I looked at this before on That's Football, Spurs... when you compare Spurs to the top six clubs like Chelsea, City and Liverpool, Spurs have got the biggest squad that stayed together. If that, I've probably worded that right. They haven't rejuvenated their squad. They've got the same set of players. They've got more of the same set of players that they had back in 2015 than anybody else. And when you think about that, you know, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Lloris, Harry Kane, Dele Alli, they've got Eriksen, they've got so many players that have been there for a long time. They've not freshened up that squad, and that's because Pochettino's not been able to freshen up that squad, and it's become quite tired. And I think in the summer he suffered with that problem. He brought some fresh players in like Lo Celso and Sessegnon, who both have had injury problems, and Dembele's not settled in that well either, and he's still got those players who I think have become a bit tired. So Spurs needed to make that change. Of course they did. Would Manchester United make that change? I just don't think we will. I'm not going to sit on the fence on this as well, because somebody said, what would you do? And there's a lot of people saying get Pochettino now, would be stupid not to do it. There's a few people saying you can't, you've got to stick with what we've got. If it happened this time last time, he'd probably be our manager, says Sean Byrne. Yeah, I mean, look, as well though, let's not forget, the headline here is he's been sacked by Spurs. Sacked by Spurs, United go and get a sacked manager. Something about that headline doesn't sound right anyway, does it? Pochettino sacked, get Poch in, ? That's the title of the video as well. But smash a like on the video if you would get Pochettino. I mean, look, I'm going to tell you my answer now. For me, it's a no. Having said that, I would be putting the feelers out. If I was Ed Woodward, this is what I would do. I would get word, well, you can just speak to him. I wonder if there is anything in his contract if he gets sacked that he can't manage another Premier League club, though, if that's been part of his severance. You don't know. Because I get the feeling that Pochettino wanted to go anyway. And Pochettino will leave Spurs with his reputation intact. A little bit like Mourinho leaving Chelsea. Now, obviously, Pochettino didn't win titles with Spurs, but he did a very good job there. He took them to the Champions League final. His reputation will be intact. So from Spurs' point of view, they will maybe do what Manchester United did. But having said that, Chelsea sacked Mourinho, and he was our manager by the summer, wasn't he? So, and that's what I'm looking at here. Would I ever, if I had the control of Manchester United, and I'll ask you this as well, Dele Alli is the Spurs Lingard playing terribly, says Joe Holdway. He's awful, isn't he? That's a right battle. But if Woodward had big enough balls to be ruthless, he'd get him, says Death Pistaro. Well, let's forget Ed Woodward and his balls. Let's pretend it's Goldbridge in the United stand and we are in charge of Manchester United. God, I'd love that. What would I do tonight? Pochettino's just flashed up on my yellow bar on Sky Sports News. He's sacked. Right. My ears prick up at that and I go, you know what? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had a shit time this last 6 months. Let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. He's been close to the sack twice. He beat Norwich. Well done. He beat Brighton. Well done. This has not turned the corner. There are sprouts of positivity. There is hope. However, this manager may well be a failure. Some people think he will be. So why should I hide behind this? Everything's going to be all right. Everything's a Bob Marley song. Everything is going to be all right. Well, it's not. It might not be. And here is a manager who is Premier League proven, who is free and available. Right. Hello, Poch. What you doing? I don't know. Right, I think you should go and have a holiday. Go and have a nice long holiday and don't think about doing anything until at least January. That's what I would do if I was you, Maurizio. Go and have a nice holiday. In fact, check your bank account. I've just paid for your holiday. Go on, enjoy it as a friend, right? Pochettino goes off for a month, 6 weeks, recharges his batteries, maybe even May, right? So Pochettino, whatever you do, you know what you need to do, Maurizio? Do a bit of fishing on holiday. Get yourself down to the Bermuda Triangle. Don't go missing. Maybe go and do a bit of fishing. Get yourself a tan. You've looked a bit pale. Go and have a nice break. And don't think about football at all, right? You're not going to do anything, are you? No, I will not do anything until at least January, maybe not May. Fan dabby dozy. Speak to you later, Maurizio. Get off the phone. Get Ollie in the office and say, Ollie, I like you. You're a very likeable bloke, 1999 and all that lot. It's about time you started doing something, though. I want to see some consistency, or I'm going to sack you. Bye. And then what you do is you sit back and you watch. And that's what I would do. Pochettino is sacked. Pochettino is out there. Hopefully he's going to take 6 months off till the summer. Recharge his batteries, which I think he needs to do. That timing could be perfect for Manchester United because there is a manager that is available. And we have a manager that should not be sacked at the moment. The story has not been told for Ollie yet. He's been close to being brilliant. He's been close to being sacked. Now, over the next 2 to 3 months, he has an opportunity to define what he is. And he will define what he is. Because if you look at Ollie's career at Manchester United, the first 3 months were fantastic. The last 6 months have been awful. And the last couple of weeks have been okay. So what's the next 3 months going to be? And that's the defining period for me. And this is what a competent CEO and owners would do. Ollie's at the wheel. Ollie's got the job. It's Ollie's job to lose. If he messes about again and starts getting bad results, we go for Poch. That's what I would do. Or maybe not Poch. Maybe there's somebody else. But what I'm saying is, I think for the first time, when everyone was saying Ollie out, a lot of people were saying, but who would you get in place? There is now a viable option that is available and free for that some United fans would go for. But no, I wouldn't sack Ollie now. I think that's ridiculous. I would hope that Pochettino will have a bit of a sabbatical till next summer, and that gives us time to get behind Ollie, see what he can do. But if he fails, you've got somebody waiting. And in some ways, it does put a bit of pressure onto Solskjaer, and that's not a bad thing. There is somebody there to take your job. I don't think there was before Pochettino was sacked. There was potential, but Pochettino is a manager that United were looking at. So that's what I think. I would flirt with Pochettino till top 4 and 6 is officially gone, says Christopher Liu. Ed would probably get Poch just to make the fans happy and get us off his back, says AB. Well, look, I don't actually agree. I think there's a lot of fans that wouldn't want Ollie to be sacked for Pochettino today. I think a lot of fans would do, or would think what I've done. It's nice to have a backup plan, isn't it? It is nice to have a backup plan so that, you know what, if you're going out on a date and you picked the best, you know, you don't know who to choose. They're both pretty good looking. You go with the one who's slightly better looking than the other one. But, you know, if they've got rubbish conversation or they talk while they're eating with food in their mouth, you bin them off and you get Poch in. That's what I'm thinking. You know, it's good to have a backup plan, and I think United do have one now. And I think that excuse of, oh, who do you get in if Ollie gets sacked? Well, we've got somebody now. And I will still stand by what I've said. I would like Woodward and the board to be sacked before Ollie, because I think they're more incompetent than anybody in the football club. But my fear is, well, that won't happen, but my fear is, what if Ollie does so bad he sacks himself? If he sacks himself because of poor results, every manager must have a tipping point. No amount of future can deny the present if you're not doing good enough. And we know, we've been in the bottom half. If he goes down the bottom half again, I think he's got to be sacked, because I don't care how good his vision is, the players are good enough not to be in the bottom half of the table. And that will be interesting what happens over the next few weeks. But what I would reiterate is that I think that with regards to Ollie, he's gonna get some good results over the next few weeks. But you know, that's in the back mind now, isn't it? But also, would Pochettino want to come back to the Premier League? You know, he's not English. He's been at 2 clubs in the Premier League now. Does he fancy a change? And that might be very interesting. He might go to Bayern, says Hippodrome. And you've got to consider that as well. Barcelona might change their manager. Would he go there having managed Espanyol? Probably not. I think he'd quite fancy the Real Madrid job. Will Zidane be safe there? Bayern Munich, I don't know who Bayern Munich are going for. There is an opportunity there. Anna Palupan says, apparently that 6 months Poch will be looked upon by Madrid, Barca, Milan, Napoli, Bayern, and of course PSG and United will not look that attractive, right? I still think Manchester United are an attractive option for an ambitious manager. If we get Bruno in January, Pochettino is coming. Ollie doesn't know European talents. Well, Pochettino did want Bruno Fernandes, didn't he? So that maybe means that he's in. I don't know. Poch will bring in better players, says Safe Rahman. And of course, that would be a big reason why Manchester United would not want Pochettino as well, because he is a manager that would demand money, like any competent manager would. Bayern are in for Nagelsmann as well, says Sahil. Let's take some of your comments. Imagine that Ollie as sporting director and Pochettino as manager, says Azano Solomon. You've just imagined an impossibility. Pochettino will definitely come to our club, says Tony Martial. Get Pochettino and Kane, says Geordie Lyons. If we miss the chance to get Pochettino, I'm done, says Kazim Ali. And this is a very interesting thing tonight. And we've got a lot of people tuning in, so please do smash a like on the video and get your comments in. I didn't expect to have a show like this. We'll have to do tomorrow's show tonight's show tomorrow, because I was going to be talking about some really interesting stuff around Manchester United, and I'll try and pick some bits out that needs to be said tonight. But the theme of tomorrow's night's show is more about the risk that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is clearly going to take between now and the end of the season. But what is amazing me is the amount of supporters, both on Twitter and on our YouTube live comments, who are saying we cannot mess this opportunity up. Here is a good manager that can come to our club, and that does surprise me. That does surprise me that people would do that. Not that I think that they're wrong, but I am just surprised by the fact that they're saying, let's go and get Pochettino. Would Pochettino want to come? Has he had enough for the Premier League, like I said? And what would that mean for Ole? Personally, if there is an opportunity to get Pochettino, there will still be an opportunity to get him in 6 months. Maybe flirt with him, maybe find out if he fancies the job. But the reality, he's been sacked. He's been sacked by Spurs. So tomorrow morning, we should be in contact with him and saying, look, we might not be looking for a manager at the moment, but if we were, would you be interested in Manchester United? Because if he says no, then you know where you are. If he says, yes, I would be interested in that job, but not at the moment, I'm going to take a break, then you carry on with your plan and you see what happens, knowing full well you've got a backup plan. I love Ole and want him to succeed, but I think any person, no matter how pro-Ole they are, can admit that Pochettino is far superior. Champions League final and no signing, says Matthew McFadden. I would concede that, Matthew. I would concede that Pochettino is a far better manager than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I also would concede that there would be concerns with Pochettino. I've watched a lot of Spurs over the last 2 years because of Champions League and we've done them on That's Football watch-alongs, and I think Spurs can be a very, very exciting team, but they can also be quite a frustrating team. Having said that, I remember the game at it was Wembley. I think it was 18 months ago. A half time against Dortmund, and they didn't play particularly well. Second half, they came out and played them off the park, and it was just a tactical switch. And I was like, that he is very, very good at that, Pochettino. But he's a stubborn manager, but sometimes that's good. I suppose the question is, who would you rather have for the future vision of Manchester United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or Pochettino? I think that's the harshest and most blunt question there can be. Yes, we know United have got to go on a journey. There is no manager that's coming into Manchester United and winning the title within a year. We tried that with Mourinho. He failed. He's one of the managers you bring in and he wins you a title in 2 years, and Mourinho failed. That shows how far away this club is. Whoever the United manager is, they must... they've got to start building something, but they must be given the time to do it. Do you trust Ole's vision, or would you rather have a Pochettino vision? I suppose that's the question. Get in the live comments. Pochettino is not at the level of rebuilding. Then again, nor is Allegri. These type of managers do not have to tarnish their reputation with rebuilds. Poch is now at a level where Barcelona or Bayern will come calling, and that's realistic, says Humi. And I think that's a very, very good point. The big point here is, would Pochettino want the Manchester United job? And as Humi says, is he not above a rebuild? Was Spurs not a rebuild? I don't know. But having said that, I think the pulling power of Manchester United might be quite big. Do I feel bad for Pochettino, Tony Stark? I don't. I think he's a good manager, and I actually think the sacking's right. Whether you want him at Manchester United or not, I think the sacking's right. I think football does get too sentimental. I think we are too sentimental as a football club. I think the whole Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era is full of sentimentality and not enough realism. I would not sack Ole at the moment. I would not. But I would agree that he has, and quite rightly, should have been quite close to that. But from everybody in the club, he's nowhere near. For all the bad results we've had this season, he's never been close to being sacked. I think he should have been, because I think we're living in a results business where we need to be realistic, and sentimentality should not be coming into it. Ole doesn't deserve the sack yet, but a couple of bad results and he should be sacked. That's just football. It's nothing to do with anything else. I spoke to somebody, a top Manchester United fan who goes home and away, and I tried to get him on the show. He wouldn't do it because he said he'd get beat up by all the away fans for doing it. But he basically said, I'm confused about Ole. And I said, well, it's because he's a legend. And he said, yeah, but we should not be judging Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for scoring goals in a United shirt. We should be judging him as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the manager. But we are getting sentimental and going, Ole, because of what he did on the pitch. But, would we do that with Cantona, who would clearly be an awful manager, even though he's a legend? 5 Cantonas. Get your Christmas jumper, links in the video description. That was a good little plug, wasn't it? But I agree with that. There's too much sentimentality around Manchester United. We should be judging this manager and this coaching staff not on the fact that Phelan was great with Ferguson, Carrick was a brilliant midfielder, Ollie scored great goals for us. We should be judging them on their coaching ability right now. Nothing changes their legend status. You are now being judged as coaches. So when we talk about Pochettino and whether I feel sorry for him, no. He will be well recompensed. He will go on and still be a good manager. He is still a good manager. This is just football. That team, anybody could see it. Spurs fans know it as well. That team and Pochettino and Spurs had run its course. And that happens in football. It was time to make a change. Very much like Mourinho winning the title and being sacked by December, even though he was still champions, that team was on its way out. Even though Pochettino was a Champions League finalist with Spurs, which is an immense achievement back in May, he's gone by November. It was the right decision. It is ruthless, but it's correct ruthless, because those players and Pochettino, they were tired of each other. You could see it. They weren't going to change that situation. It had become tired, and Spurs have made a right decision. But it doesn't mean Pochettino's a bad manager. It's just the right footballing decision. So I don't feel sorry for him. I think he'll be quite relieved. I think Spurs will move on. And a good manager's on the market. First Keane on Kane, now Pochettino free, connect the dots. First Keane on Kane, now Poch free, connect the dots, says Christopher Liu. And Anup Alipan says, remember how Pellegrini announced Guardiola on January? Everyone was done for summer, sorted, and he announced it while he was manager in press. Guess who would be happy to give up the post because of Love United, says Anup. Look, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got no intention of stepping aside for anybody. He wants the job. The board want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be successful. The players want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be successful. Within Manchester United's four walls, the players, the board and Ole are absolutely focused on this being a success for the next 5 to 10 years. That's the plan. The players want it, the board wants it, and Ollie wants it. That's the plan. You can dress it up however you want, but that's the plan. Whether that plan's going to be right or not, I don't know. But I don't think any football club, and certainly any business, should be blinkered to where and how quickly this could go wrong and why it's important to have a backup plan. And that is what I would do. I would be sounding Pochettino out right now and saying, are you done with the Premier League, or would you fancy this job if it became available? It's not at the moment. And that's what I would say. And then you get your answer, don't you? That's as simple as that. Simple as that. Smash a like on the video, everyone. I would take Pochettino. No hard feelings, Mark, says Omar Lewis. And the perfect opportunity to move Ollie into the sporting director role and Poch into the manager's role has just dropped into United's lap, says Dynamite Magnifico. And that, that's too clever for United. That's too intelligent a decision to make. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer moving into a more sporting director role and Pochettino coming in as manager. That is too intelligent for Manchester United to do that. I won't even discuss it further because it just won't happen. If Poch were to sign, could we get Son or Kane as well, says Smutty. It won't work like that. They'd still be as hard as ever to get hold of, unfortunately. In my opinion, Poch in could mean Glazers spend even less, says Avin Singh. And Joe Hold, I don't think Pochettino would come to Manchester United if there wasn't promise of money anyway. He's just been at a club where he's had his hands tied behind his back completely by the lack of spending. I know they spent money this summer, but the previous years he was hardly getting anything. So I don't think Pochettino would fancy doing another job where he's not getting in money, and United need money. In my Spurs were beaten by Colchester, totally trounced by Bayern and played off the park by Brighton. Can't see him doing any better than Ollie at United. Ollie in, says Joe Holdway. Interesting. When sacking, there is so much negotiation back and forth. He had 3 years of his contract to run at 8.5 million. Over 25 million he just got paid. And I bet in that deal today there was a clause you do not manage in the Premier League for an amount of time. And I would agree with that as well, Humi. I do agree with that. He's been sacked. I think he wanted to go. And I definitely think there will be some sort of you can't go and manage anywhere else until at least the summer. Maybe even longer. Mojo, Mark, you suggested that we should win the next 5 games out of 6. It would be great, but what if he wins 2 out of 6? Then what? Well, this is it. This is it. If we do drop points over the next 6 games, the only game that you can legitimately drop points in is Man City. I mean, look, we've got Spurs before Man City at Old Trafford. They're going to come with a new manager, Now they might bounce with a new manager, or they might be vulnerable with a new manager. That's an opportunity for United to win games. Southampton and Villa, Sheffield United and Villa, you've got to win those games. Everton and Watford after Man City, you've got to be winning them games. So we can't be dropping points. There's an opportunity to go and get 5 wins out of 6, and if he does that, no one's going to be saying anything about Ollie. They'll be saying, let's give him the rest of the season and see where we end up. Aidan Lynch, thank you and welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Why don't you all boycott matches at Old Trafford, says Sagata. How many people who were staunch Ollie in are now smashing the like buttons on Pochettino in post, do you think, says Connor Sedgwick. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a really interesting debate point tonight, because I've given you my honest answer, and my honest answer would be, if I was Ed Woodward, who makes these decisions, it literally would be, Ollie, we're behind you. You've got to get some results over the next couple of months, otherwise your position's going to be in trouble, but you know that yourself. I'm not threatening you. And the phone call's been made to Pochettino. Go and take a break. Would you fancy this job in the summer? That's all I would do. Because if Pochettino says no, under no circumstances do I want that job, I don't then come back and say, Ollie, you got the job forever. I'm still thinking, Ollie, you've got to start getting good results or you're gone. I need a backup plan. Woodward is absolutely incompetent if he hasn't got a backup plan now. You've got to have a backup plan. What if United go and lose the next 5 games? You'd have to sack the manager, and that would be before Christmas. You've got to have a backup plan. You've got to have one. The rumours were that United were going to sack Mourinho last October when we played Newcastle, and they didn't do it because of mainly because of the Gary Neville rant, but also they didn't really have a backup plan, and it took them a few weeks to sort of get a backup plan in place, which was to get Solskjaer to come in and steady the ship, because they knew they couldn't sack Mourinho in December and get a new manager in because there was nobody really available. They needed their backup plan, and Ollie was the backup plan to come and steady the ship for a few months, and then we gave him the job. United, I don't know that we've got a backup plan. If we were to sack Ollie tomorrow for whatever reason, I don't think we've got a backup plan, and they need to have that. Every good club needs to have that. Let's hope we're going to be successful under Ollie, and I certainly don't think he should be sacked at the moment. I think he's got an opportunity to go and win a few games, and even if we win 5 out of the next 6, that doesn't mean we're not going to have a bad January and February and everyone will be going to get rid of him again. I think the way Ollie's career at United's going to be is, unless he starts winning consistently week in, week out, month in, month out, there's a big question mark over him, and that will remain. Inconsistency, that's what we've had under Ollie, and if that inconsistency continues, there's always going to be question marks. So United would be stupid not to have a backup plan, but all you can do in relation to Pochettino is just sound him out and say, are you going to be available for this job if we want you? And it's not for tomorrow, I think it's for May at the earliest, but I guarantee, like Humi said, there will be something in there from Spurs to say he can't manage in the Premier League, at least until next season. Anthony Jenkins is our latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Actually, he's not. Jarrett Edwards and Anthony Jenkins, welcome. You can join the United Stand Members Club by clicking the join button. And Nick P says, you get your little badge next to yourself in the live comments. And Nick P says, to use your own analogy, Megan Fox has just walked into the room and stuck talking to Susan Boyle. I can't get away. She's chained me to the chair. Yeah. Well, actually, I think that is a good analogy, Nick P, and I think that's what's happened tonight with some United fans. You know what? You're approaching Christmas. You're going to look forward to it. You're going to have a few drinks. You're going to listen to some classic Cliff Richard and a bit of Slade. You're going to get some nostalgia. You're going to look at the partner that you're not really sure you love them, but I tell you what, a few glasses of mulled wine and a bit of Slade, and you're going to like them and you're going to put up with it. But oh ho ho, guess who's just walked in the door? It's a page 3 stunner. Page 3, they don't do it anymore. It's a 10 out of 10 stunner. They've walked in, they've got a nice dress on, and they're winking at you with their eye, nothing else. And you're there. Now, I like you in a way, and we have a good time, and you've got potential. You have got potential. I'm not going to say anything about losing weight or anything like that. You've just got potential as a person. But they are very attractive. And they're flirting with me. Now, you better start giving out. You better, tonight, that stuff you said you weren't going to do, you better start doing it. And every night, because they will. And that's the situation. Not with me. I'm just playing out a scenario here. This is what some United fans, I think, are like tonight. They're like, I don't know whether you are the real deal, but that could be, and it's available. You're lucky I'm saying you can buy your own drinks because I'm going to get them one. So, for me personally in that situation, I'm like, look, I'm sticking with you. Let's have another mulled wine. If they're really interested, they'll still be interested in a couple of months. That's what I would say. What kind of payoff do you think Ollie has, says Christopher Lou? Probably just a blankety blank checkbook and pen. And Ahmed Hamada says, must get Pochettino. That will be a huge step in the right direction as he built correct culture. Will drop many points till Christmas and Ollie will be sacked. It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting. And this is why I love football as well, because who would have thought we would be doing a video about a Spurs manager being sacked. It's interesting. But I'll go back to what I said before, because I bet we've got people who've tuned in and didn't hear this. When I was talking to the lads from Red Men TV, Liverpool fans can't stand Man United like we can't stand them, but obviously there's you can have a chat, and they were saying, I hope you keep Ollie, he's going to fail. The one manager we wouldn't like you to get is Pochettino, because you wouldn't be good in the first year or two, but he could build you back into being a decent team. So that's interesting from fans of a club that can't stand us. They would be concerned if we got Pochettino, but they want us to keep Ollie because they think he's going to fail. So that's Liverpool fans saying that. Alex Ferguson first year was terrible, but then he became one of the best managers in the world. So why can't we trust Ollie and give him a year, says Riyad Hassan. A lot of people, give him time. We're back in 1989, and Ollie out, last Poch. Who would have thought that? Says Giorgio B. Exactly. Jose to Spurs, according to DMR, says Minian Sarada. I mean, that would be interesting. I mean, who Spurs go for next? Imagine. Mourinho would quite fancy that. That is very interesting. Spurs will come with Mourinho as manager, 1 to 3 favourites, as Stephen B. Harry. And I tell you what, I'd like to see that. I would like to see that. I would like to see Mourinho at Spurs, because that is something I would get very excited about, because I think Pochettino and Spurs needed to part ways. And if Mourinho went to Spurs, that would be interesting. The Premier League with Mourinho in it, and remember, I've said Mourinho's done at the highest level. I think he's done, so that would be very, very interesting. And Spurs have got good defenders, so also I think Mourinho would look at Spurs and go Son, Kane, and Dembele, a good back four, a good goalkeeper. I'm not Champions League finalists a few months ago. It's not a massive rebuild with Spurs, but he would be given time, because what does Spurs lack? A backbone and a winning mentality. What's Mourinho got? A backbone and a winning mentality. So that could be very interesting in a footballing sense. This would have been the show to get rants on Marks, as Christopher Lou. You can check the Flex and Rant show out earlier on. Even more pressure on Ollie now. No room for any more mistakes. Sink or swim for Ollie, says Matt Rush. And I think that's something I would take away from this show tonight as well. Or this, not this show tonight necessarily, but this news tonight, is that if there is now in the fans' mind, and it's not really Ed Woodward's mind or the players' minds that matters, it's the fans that obviously have got the bigger voice. In the fans' minds now, it's a bit like an election campaign, isn't it? You traditionally vote for one party, but maybe there's something happening that you don't like that party, what it stands for anymore, and this other party have got the sort of policies that you're interested in. I think as United fans, there are some people who really aren't happy with this regime at Manchester United, but don't see a viable option anywhere else. I think tonight there is now an option. Whether it's a realistic option or not, has that ever stopped us before? We talk about signing players we've never got a chance of. It just floats around, like Jadon Sancho, probably never going to come to us, but people keep putting him in their bloody United team of the future 11 because you think it could happen. And now, tonight, Pochettino's available. And I think he's going to be available till next summer. I don't think he's going to take a job till next summer. And maybe he's never going to be United manager, and maybe never wants to be United manager, but he is going to be there available for the next 6 months, which puts pressure onto Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because suddenly I think a percentage of United fans that were like, oh, let's just stick with Ole, there's nothing else, they'll now be like, well, there is something else, you better bloody start delivering. So, but I think that can be a good pressure. I think it can be a good pressure. If we lose to Sheffield, the fan base is going to go mad now, says Christian B. Well, yeah, I feel that United are always one bad result away from pressure at the moment, because that's the sort of season we've had. You get a draw against Liverpool, you lose to Bournemouth. You get results and then you go and lose to Newcastle or you lose to West Ham. So United have been like that all season. So and I think our away record, I think we've won 1 in 10. So we're away on Sunday, obviously. So that's going to be very, very interesting. Harry Kane is surely off now, stays in the Premier League or goes elsewhere. Mark says Harry Chris James. I don't think those 2 points correlate, to be honest with you. I think Harry Kane will stay at Spurs. He's a Spurs lad, isn't he? So I don't think that he would go anywhere. But maybe if Pochettino went to Real Madrid, then that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Jose got clean sheet galore with terrible back four. Ollie can't buy a clean sheet with investment in the back four. It's not always only about players, but also coaching, says Vandy Candy. But also, I think, just on Mourinho, and obviously he was an ex-Manchester United manager who could be going to Spurs where Pochettino's been sacked, which is what we've all been talking about. Let's not forget, Mourinho without Rui Faria became very, very average as well. He would have to be trying to get him back with him if he went to Spurs. Get Haaland in, not Kane, says Minion Sarada. Well, they're talking about £85 million for him. Ridiculous amounts of money. Ridiculous. The timing is strange, says Banana Man 1. I don't think it's strange in relation to Manchester United. I don't think this sacking of Pochettino has got anything to do with us, and I think we'd be very arrogant to think that, to be honest with you. Mark, I'm a huge Man United fan. It's my birthday today. It would mean the world to me if you could sing the birthday sing to me, says Lug Hog. Look, I'll say happy birthday to you, mate. I hope you have a very good day, but I'm not singing happy birthday. Imagine how many of those I'll get every show, me singing happy birthday if I do it. But look, remember as well, we may well be talking about Pochettino, but this Christmas jumper by the United Stand, you've got 5 Cantonars, green and gold, red, black, the famous grey, and another red top. Cantonar, 5 Cantonars. If you don't know the 5 Cantonars song, who are you? It's always there, every Christmas period. 5 Cantonars. You'll hear it on Match of the Day. You'll probably start hearing it on Sunday in Sheffield. You'll definitely hear it against Villa the weekend after. 5 Cantonars is our Christmas song, and this is our Christmas jumper. You can get it. The link is in the video description. We have been selling t-shirts, and a lot of our t-shirt designs are now on the jumper as well. So you can get the Adored jumper, you can get the green and gold jumper, you can get the Class of 92 football shirt jumper, but the Christmas one, if you want to get it for Christmas, get into the link in the video description now, because delivery times do vary dependent on where you are. Link in the video description. Get your United Stand Christmas jumper. It's going to be a classic, and everybody is going to say how classy that is when you're walking around with it at the end of the month, or now, or next month. Thanks everyone for watching. Get your Christmas jumper. Get in the live comments. Pochettino, would you take him? I've had my say. For me, let's keep him on the lowdown. Let's see what Ollie does. And if Ollie fails, hopefully we've got that backup plan. But for me, you stick with Ollie for the moment, knowing that maybe Pochettino is an option. He's an option. Definitely is an option. But for Ollie in for now. And get your Christmas jumper. Link in the video description. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you all soon.